It's still the middle of summer. It's 34 degrees in Christchurch, and there's a cricket game tonight. But we've got some big news in the world of rugby. So, former Irish rugby coach, head coach, and New Zealand All Blacks assistant coach Joseph Schmidt, or as we know, Jo Schmidt, has been announced as the Wallabies' new head coach. There's, of course, if you recall, Eddie Jones resigned following a disastrous and very short return to the Wallabies, probably a job that he should never have taken. And so the Wallabies, who I guess has to be said, the interview process to be Eddie Jones' replacement was rather quiet. I'm not certain how many people interviewed for the job, but in any case, Jo Schmidt is the new Wallabies head coach. Of course, as you recall, Jo Schmidt's tenure was with the All Blacks as sort of like an assistant coach. Some might say he was the real head coach instead of Ian Foster, but helped the All Blacks get to the Rugby World Cup final, which many people, including myself, did not think was possible. And so, in short, certainly being in there certainly helped the All Blacks. Of course, if you recall, the All Blacks were not in a good place at all. They lost their first ever Test series to Ireland at home. And then, of course, so it was Jo Schmidt sort of came in, replacing Brad Moore and John Plumtree. And the rest is history. By all accounts, he's done a good job. Jo Schmidt comes into the Wallabies job with a very, very impressive CV. Of course, he was Ireland head coach. He guided the Irish to multiple Six Nations championships. He certainly was the mastermind behind the Ireland's first to ever wins against the All Blacks. He left the Irish job after the Irish were knocked out in the quarterfinals. A bit like the Dallas Cowboys going out of the playoffs. So he left that job in 2019, was sort of out of work until sort of like 2022. Been pretty much based in New Zealand. Look, he came back to New Zealand, obviously he had some family issues I'm obviously not wanting to delve in there. So it would appear maybe perhaps those issues I think Jo Schmidt might probably feel now that is a good time to consider a job in Australia. And I guess, he's still pretty close to New Zealand. So I think, I think it's a good appointment. To be honest, I thought the Wallabies head coaching job is, unlike the Dallas Cowboys head coaching job, it's not exactly a job that really anyone wants to touch. All the jokes Eddie Jones, about Eddie Jones, I think if Eddie Jones couldn't really turn around this Wallabies side, then I don't really know who. I guess the Eddie Jones appointment, while it was very good on paper, I think ultimately the rest of the bonus, around the signings, the expectations and all that, how much power they gave him, it was just an absolute farce. And of course, a lot of heads have rolled. Look, we know it's a broken record already. Australian rugby is in a terrible, terrible state financially, on field, off field. Probably, it's the crowd's been disengaged for some time. And the thing we had, of course, many players are wanting to, rush back to rugby league. So, NRL. So it's not in a good space. So I think, but I guess having said that, Jo Schmidt, maybe, I guess there's nothing. He doesn't really have anything to lose. He's shown his caliber. Wallabies haven't won the Bledisloe Cup. It's going to be their, 21st year without the Bledisloe Cup. And, could they go any lower? Potentially. But, I guess Schmidt, it kind of feels like Schmidt doesn't really have, any high expectations, I think it's just really building this side. There is some talent in there, no doubt. And I guess, any success, if they beat the All Blacks on a one-off occasion, maybe South Africa, get a few wins against Argentina, just rebuilding that confidence in the side, which clearly has, because obviously Australian rugby's had a very low stock, but post Rugby World Cup, of course, if you recall, they lost to Fiji, and didn't even, first time that they never made it out of the group stages. So yeah, so I think the ceiling is reasonably high. I think for Jo Schmidt, I don't think they'll fire him unless things get worse and worse. Having said about, I think what I'm trying to say is that I think the expectations for Jo Schmidt will be pretty low, and I think it is probably an appointment that kind of works on both parties. So I guess we shall see in the coming months. I don't look. Well, Wallabies don't play, and like the All Blacks don't play till July. So yeah. So obviously we've got 6 months. Probably people are going to forget this soon. So yeah. But I thought I'd cover off some rather big news in the world of rugby. So yeah, I'd like to hear your thoughts. If you have, in your comments, feel free to like and subscribe to this video. Sorry, subscribe to this channel.